Gosia told you, my name is Kama, and I am a UX UI designer at Polidea, a design and development studio based in Warsaw. And today I will be talking about how to make your content more accessible. But let me start by asking you a question. How many of you are designers? How many of you are developers? What about the rest? Okay, so you probably all know that design is not just about something looks like. A good design is visually attractive, meets real needs, has content and depth, work well and intuitively. And design is a continuous operation. If you make a decision about your product, your decisions affect the life of your users. As a designer, you define a goal, focus on how users interact with your product, create a visual appearance of the product, and then developer makes everything work, probably. Usually it is a teamwork, but very often teams consist of only 2 people, and you also have to deal with it somehow. So it is good to engage target users into your design research. Then you can try to eliminate all barriers, also those related to disabilities. So what is accessibility? Accessibility in the physical world is the degree to which an environment is usable by as many people as possible. And web accessibility is the degree to which a website is usable by as many people as possible. We can think about both kinds of accessibilities as a form of inclusion. Make it as simple as possible. In many countries, public spaces must be inclusive by law. However, most laws haven't yet caught up with the new medium that is web or mobile app. And what is universal design? Universal design is the design of products and environments to be usable by all people without the need of adaptation or specialized design. And the distinction between universal design and accessible design is subtle but important. Accessible design considers the needs of people with disabilities. So, for example, accessible design might result in a building having a wheelchair map attached to its far side as an afterthought. It might be not convenient for people using wheelchairs, and it's unlikely to be used by people who find it faster to use stairs. But at least there is some form of access. On the other hand, universal design considers the needs of all people. Universal design might result in a building having a combined ramp and stairs, opening access to everyone. And in Poland, 12.2% of population has some form of disabilities, according to GUS. But this is an informal data, but to compare, in Poland we have 1.7 million of residents, and in Krakow 0.7 million of residents, so this is a lot of people. And impairments are multi-level and spread across a spectrum. We all physically able in a different ways, some more than others. If you wear glasses, you probably don't consider yourself as a disabled, but if your eyesight were deteriorate by a few degrees, you might suddenly find yourself needing further assistance. And when you break your arm, or you break your leg, or you have an ear infection, your ability is limited for a period of time. Some activities, like, for example, listening to music or typing are not possible, and this makes life harder. And this kind of accessibility, this kind of disabilities, we call like temporary. And you probably remember when you were carrying a shopping bag and someone texts you with something urgent and you couldn't reply, or you were on a very busy street and your mother called you and you couldn't hear her. So this is like a situational impairment. So disabilities are more common than you think. And there are many nuances in the language around the disability. In the US and in the UK, disability rights group tend to refer to a person as being disabled. So, for example, Sam is disabled. However, many people have started using has a disability. Instead, Sam has a disability. Using disability as a noun changed the focus. Sam has a disability, but he is not defined by this disability. So today I would like to talk about 4 types of impairments: visual, auditory, motor, and cognitive. You need to know that there is a lot of kind of impairments and disabilities, but we do not have time to talk about all of them. So let's start from the first big category, which is visual impairment. And for a lot of people, life looks like this. Maybe you have any idea how can we fix this website? So we definitely need to have large font size, between 60 and 22 points. Everything below is a risk. We should have high contrast between text and background colors. Allow zooming and avoid non-scalable content. So it means that every element should be scalable, like pictures, text, headers, buttons, navigation, etc. And another disability is a colorblind. So colorblind is a common visual impairment that affects up to 8% of men and 0.5% of women. And it doesn't mean that people don't see color at all, or they see just in a grayscale, but they cannot see a particular color, or they cannot distinguish certain colors from one another. So this is deuteranopia. It's the most common disease, cause reds to look lighter and make them easily confused with the greens. This is protanopia. It's a rare red cone deficiency that makes pinks appear blue and makes dark reds and blacks easy to confuse. This is tritanopia, and this is like an extremely rare blue cone deficiency that causes people to confuse blue with green and yellow with violet. And the last one is monochromacy. It's very, very rare disease. It affects affecting just one person in 33,000, and it's similar to see in a grayscale. And people who suffer for monochromacy very often wear glasses because their eyes are very sensitive. So for those kind of people, we need to provide a high contrast. The smaller font size, the higher contrast has to be. Never color only, so we need to have combination of color with patterns. And I have a question for you. What do you think? How many error messages do we have on this slide, in this form? Any ideas? So we have 4, and this is a very good example of very bad design. And another disability is blindness. It means that our user don't see at all. And right now I have a small exercise for you. You probably can find a sheet of paper and pen next to you. I would like you to draw an app based on what you hear.
Tab 1 of 4. Search. Tab 2 of 4. Downloads. Tab 3 of 4. More. Tab 4 of 4. TV shows. Button. Movies. Button. My list. Button. Filter. Wine country. Image. Gal pals. Midlife crisis. Hollywood movie. Irreverent. Add to my list. Button. More info. Button. Play. Button. Previews. Heading. Dead to me. Button. Wine country. Button. The Society. Button. My list. Heading. Mad Men. Button. Gone Girl. Button. Nothing to hide. Button. Continue watching for Kenna. Heading. Continue watching Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 2. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 15 minutes. 43 seconds of 55 minutes. 25 seconds. Dimmed. S1E2. More info. Button. Continue watching Young and Beautiful. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 30 minutes. 17 seconds of 1 hour. 29 minutes. 34 seconds. Dimmed. 1H 29 meters. More info. Button. Continue watching Snatch. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 32 minutes. 58 seconds of 1 hour. 42 minutes. 54 seconds. Dimmed. 1H 42 meters. More info. Button. Women who rule the screen. Heading. Get to me. Button. The Art of Loving. Button. Wine Country. Button.
Okay, I will play it second time, and actually this is not super fast. This voiceover is quite slow. So let's try again.
Tab. 1 of 4. Search. Tab. 2 of 4. Downloads. Tab. 3 of 4. More. Tab. 4 of 4. TV shows. Button. Movies. Button. My list. Button. Filter. Wine Country. Image. Gal Pals. Midlife Crisis. Hollywood movie. Irreverent. Add to my list. Button. More info. Button. Play. Button. Previews. Heading. Dead to me. Button. Wine Country. Button. The Society. Button. My list. Heading. Mad Men. Button. Gone Girl. Button. Nothing to hide. Button. Continue watching for Kenna. Heading. Continue watching Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 2. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 15 minutes. 43 seconds of 55 minutes. 25 seconds. Dimmed. S1E2. More info. Button. Continue watching Young and Beautiful. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 30 minutes. 17 seconds of 1 hour. 29 minutes. 34 seconds. Dimmed. 1H 29 meters. More info. Button. Continue watching Snatch. Double tap to play. Button. You've watched 32 minutes. 58 seconds of 1 hour. 42 minutes. 54 seconds. Dimmed. 1H 42 meters. More info. Button. Women who rule the screen. Heading. Get to me. Button. The Art of Loving. Button. Wine Country. Button.
So does anyone have an idea what app was it? Okay. But can someone draw something, or it was like too fast? Okay. Can you share your...
It's just like
Okay. So this was the interface. So for people who are blind, you need to provide meaningful content flow, support keyboard navigation, so every element should be clickable and navigate by keyboard through the website. No critical hover states, make sure that everything is clickable. For example, elements like this, VoiceOver cannot read at all. You also need to provide alternative text and caption, image captions for diagrams, for pictures, for every visual element. And of course, try screen readers before. It's a really open eye experience, which I recommended to all of you. If you have a Mac computer, there is a VoiceOver, and you can also download a plugin to your Chrome browser, and the plugin is Chromebox. So the next category is auditory impairments. So many people with hearing loss use written language to read and communicate. Technologies such emails and instant messages can be useful for communicate when communicate face-to-face or telephone conversation are difficult. However, audio and video content can be inaccessible when alternative ways to view the content are provided. So you definitely need to have subtitles if you have videos or animation for people who cannot hear. Of course, a lot of people can read lip read, but it's difficult when some people have different accents or they have beards or large mustaches. And the next category is motor impairments. So motor impairments can make the use of standard inputs and outputs difficult. People may struggle to use mouses, touchpads, keyboards. And to motor impairments, we include single hand availability, upper limb disability, carpal tunnel disease, hand tremor, and Parkinson. And right now I have another exercise for you. I hope that everyone has Instagram or Facebook app. So for all of you who are right-handed, please take out your smartphone and put into your left hand. And left-handed people, please put your phones into your right hand and use just one hand. And everybody, please open Instagram or Facebook app, and we are going to record a short story, Instagram story or Facebook story, with hashtag SOAPConf. And please be informed that I do not take responsibilities for your broken smartphone. And I also will try to do the same with my phone. So it was quite challenging, right? Or no? Slow, yeah. So how to make your content more accessible for people with motor impairments? You definitely need to put call to action at the bottom. As you can see on this graphic, that the bottom area is easy to reach and the top area is very hard to reach. Before giving with accuracy, you need to provide a bigger touch target and clickable areas. Avoid multi-touch. I don't mean that you need to delete it at all, but it shouldn't be the only way to get some content. Avoid repetitive gestures because they can cause pain. And the last category is cognitive impairments, and this is the big one and the most sensitive one. So cognitive impairments is when a person has trouble with remembering, learning new things, concentrating, but this is also depression or some mental problems and mental disease. But this is enough that you have a hangover or you are so tired and you cannot focus. So in general, you need to provide consistent layout. Be straightforward, don't use acronyms and idioms, use very simple language. Avoid infinitive animations. Provide active style in navigation that your user all the time know where he or she is, and provide breadcrumbs. And do you know which font is the best for people with dyslexia? Yes, it's Comic Sans. So use clear font face, around 70 characters per line, 1.5 line height, and decent contrast. Avoid flashing content. And you need to remember that accessibility is always a team effort. This is not a responsibility of one lone developer who will fix all problems before a page or an app went to live. And people with disabilities are above all people with desires and habits, emotional reaction, and preferences like everyone else. So design which include everyone is much better design. And here are some resources which can help you in your future work. Thank you.
Okay, you guys. Questions to Kama. We have one question.
What were the 4 errors on the app you
Sorry, I
showed?
cannot hear you.
What were the four errors you showed us on the app?
For errors, this is like a PayPal application.
Yeah, but what were the errors?
The errors, like probably someone cannot write his email or name. Yeah, so you have some like forms that you need to write some information there, and someone probably didn't write anything there. So this is like a kind of error that the form is empty, and someone clicked the button send.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have one more question here. Any more questions? Just so that I spot you guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
the question about these 4 errors. So if a person, a user, should type his name or surname into the field, so what can be the solutions for the people who cannot see these fields or cannot type in their names, like voice record or I don't know, something. What are your ideas like for such form for logging in like at the people
There should be
website?
like a visual message for those people, and for people who are colorblind, you also need to provide, for example, pictogram or icons, not just the color. So this was confusing in PayPal because they provide just the one icon, and the rest was just the color. So people who are colorblind, they cannot see it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 more questions, and let's agree they will be the last questions. So one is here from Anton, and yes, column is the next one.
Cool. Yeah. My name is Anton. I'm technical writer, and my question is as follows. So, my team and I, we created tons of documents, and we have a huge knowledge base, and we are planning to assess the UX of this knowledge base, but we do not really know where to start. What do you do first when you're trying to assess or evaluate your UX of a knowledge base? What would be your action? What would be the first thing you do? That's basically it.
So is it a website or what is this?
It's not a website. It's just internal knowledge base because our company does games and we store all the information about the games, about the mechanics, the balance, and all the rest of the stuff that you're supposed to know about the game in this knowledge base. So this is basically it. And we do not know how to assess the usability. And,
So it's good to engage people with disabilities and did some user tests first of all, because you need to know what are their needs. And if it's like a document, you probably need to use like good fonts and good size of the text. Yeah, but probably in this kind of documents, it's really hard to provide voiceover, I guess. So yeah, it's really hard to say. Yeah, so it's good to engage people with disabilities and also ask them about their needs.
cool. Thank you.
Okay, and we have one last question.
Hi, it's Colin. I just wondered about advice you can give to people who are in sort of teams where there's a lot of demand.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Oh, you can't? Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask about any advice you can give to teams that are under a lot of pressure to get things out and perhaps don't really think about accessibility. Any advice you can give to try and get to win over the people that have to make those decisions to invest time and money in making what we produce more accessible?
You definitely need to know that there is a lot of people with disabilities, so it's not like a one single person. So if your website or an app is not accessible, you lost your clients, you lost your users, and I think it's like a very good effort. I know that a lot of our clients don't like the word accessibility, because they cannot imagine how many people have some kind of disabilities and impairments. But I think it's good to start and good to show some examples of very good apps which are accessible. Am I answering your question or?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kania, for sharing with us. It's a very important topic.